So, I've been doing something lately, and some people might not agree with it. All right. Y'all, don't kill me, but I've been taking my Funko Pops out of their boxes. So let's get right into it. Hey everyone, it's Jerry Pops, back again with another video. And today, I actually just want to spend a minute to talk to you a little bit about displaying your Funko Pops. There's been a lot of conversations lately about how some people are moving on from Pops, and I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of display ability, right? I think we all are a little bit over seeing pictures like this, right? You see those everywhere. It's just these floor to ceiling stacks and stacks of Funko Pops in their boxes, right? It's literally like, it looks like a store. And I think that because of the speed at which Pops come out, a lot of us resort to just putting our Pops stacked on top of each other as high as we can go. And overall, that really isn't a very aesthetic, it doesn't really look great when you walk into a room and you just see Pops lined floor to ceiling all across the walls. I think for some people it works, and I'm okay with that. If that works for you, don't feel like I'm coming for you. I think that's fine. But I think that's why people get over it, or why they're moving on, why they're feeling like these are feeling stale lately, is because all it is these Pops stacked in boxes at the top. We want to get these things out. We want to start looking at some of the details. I think that more collectors need to start going out of box. And in order to help you all, in order to just help maybe with encouraging you all to go out of box, I want to show you some pictures and maybe some video of some of the way that I display my Funko Pops, but also tell you a little bit more about the stuff that I bought to help display my Pops. And it's all, I only buy stuff on a budget. So these are all budget conscious choices when I choose to display my Pops. I'm making budget conscious choices. I want to spend more of my money on more Pops. That's what I want. I want to buy more Pops. So I try to save as much money when buying displays, because those displays are mainly just to help me display my Pops. So I want them to look nice, but I don't want them just stacked floor to ceiling, but I do want a little something. So I'm going to tell you guys a little about some of the ways that I display mine, and I do want to say that I do keep some of them in box still. I really do. I've just slowly been bringing more and more of them out of box, because I think I have a lot more fun seeing them out of box, being able to look at the details, just to be able to look more closely at the way the Pops display, and you're no longer just getting all these boxes, but you're able to actually do some more dynamic stuff with Pops once you get them out of the box. So let's get right into a couple of my suggestions, and I'll show you some pictures, but I'll also show you some video of the way that I have some of mine set up on some of these options as well. Option number one is the Ikea Liva bookshelf. This is the best budget-friendly bookshelf you'll find anywhere. It's sort of my trade secret. You see them actually lining this wall behind me. I feel like they are my favorite easy Pop display shelf that you can have, because there's a lot of versatility in just having a standard bookshelf. And the great thing about these bookshelves is that they will only run you $19.99. Yes, you heard me right. They're only $19.99 to purchase one of these Ikea Liva bookshelves. They are 5 shelves. Yeah, 5 shelves. And if you do keep your Pops in box, you can actually fit 10 Pops per shelf. So you can display 50 Pops top to bottom on a Ikea Liva if you keep them in box. Now, if you go out of box, you can start fitting closer to 25 to 30 Pops per shelf, which is going to add up really quick. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. You can display almost 150 Pops. You can display almost 150 Pops out of box on an Ikea Liva. They're one of my favorite shelves. They have a lot of versatility. They're very cheap. I think they look pretty clean overall. Maybe a little cheap looking, but that's what you get for $19.99. I think they look much better than just stacking your Pops floor to ceiling. So I would encourage looking at doing an Ikea Liva. Another great budget option is looking at the Target Room Essentials brand. And Target's a great place because they have pretty standard pricing, and if you have a red card, it's 5% off all the time. But the Room Essentials brand is just standard shelving. I have a 5 shelf and a 3 shelf from Room Essentials right now that I'm using. They're just really standard. I think the 3 shelf is $24.99. The 5 shelf is $34.99. It's really not bad price-wise, and you can get a lot of bang for your buck, because these are also deeper shelves than the Livas are. So you're going to get a little bit more space back to front, and you can kind of change up where the shelving is, unlike the Liva, which the shelves are stuck in place. So you can do some more different stuff, maybe display some different stuff, and do bigger Pops on those as well. That's what's great about the Room Essentials. The next I want to talk about is something simple like a 3M shelf. A lot of people don't have the luxury of being able to put nails into their walls. They want to be able to just display something very easily, maybe something super clean. And I've seen some really great displays using these online on places like Reddit. But these are really simple. Amazon, I got this off Amazon. It was a 3M shelf, like a lip shelf. And you can display about 6 pops out of box on one of these. You really can't, inbox doesn't really work on this 3M shelf that I had because the lip on it is just, it comes up like the box is just a little bit too big to fit in there. But you can easily get 6 pops out of box and they look really clean. You can do a bunch of these top to bottom. I want to say these run about $12 to $15. They're not too bad, but they can definitely start running up a large fee if you want to buy a bunch of them. But like I've said, I've seen some people who've done these all up and down walls, who've done staggered displays with them. They look really good. They're a pretty clean choice, especially if you don't want to put any nails or get any markings in your wall. 3M goes on clean. The next one is super popular amongst pop collectors. That's the Michaels baseball bat display case. And I do want to say, these do normally run a $60 price tag, but never pay $60 for a Michaels baseball bat display. Michaels constantly has sales. Literally, probably today, you could go in there and get it half off. I don't know why, but it's probably half off. It's almost always half off, occasionally even cheaper than that. I think I got mine for $19 a piece when I picked 2 of them up. So I paid like less than 40 bucks for 2 of them. And they look great. Yes, you're going to be putting 2 holes in the wall in order to hang these correctly. And you need to make sure you're taking all precautions when you do hang these up, because they are pretty heavy. And, you know, they're going to fall off your wall if you're not careful about getting these things hung up correctly. But the great thing about them is that you can usually fit about 10 pops across inside. About 10 to 12 inside of the actual baseball bat display, and then you can fit an additional 8 or so in box on top of it. But you could also do all sorts of other stuff on top of it. Maybe put 10 inches on top of it, put 6 inches on the top. You can do anything out of box. It's just really, really great. I have heard that you can actually, if you turn the boxes sideways and turn the baseball bat sideways, you can actually put in-box pops inside of them. I don't really like that look. I think they look a lot cleaner with out-of-box pops lining the inside of it, and then you can do whatever on top of that. But again, those are really nice. Another budget way to display. I've seen people who will take a bunch of these and line them up. They'll put lights inside, do all sorts of really cool stuff with them. They're a great way to display your pops out of box. The next thing I want to talk about is one of my new favorites. I've just recently started buying more of these. I don't actually have one set up with pops on it just yet, but I do have one here in my room. It's the Bed Bath & Beyond's Relaxed Living Cubes. They come in a 3 cube, a 6 cube, and a 9 cube format. And these cubes are each about 11 inches wide, 11 inches deep, and 11 inches tall. So you can actually fit some acrylic risers inside of those and display pops inside of the cubes. But on top of that, they're usually pretty budget friendly. I want to say the 9 cube is $45. With each one, I want to say they're $10 less, so it's like $35 to $25 or something like that, as you reduce in the amount of cubes you get. But the great thing about these is they're stackable, they look clean, they have a nice clean finish. And almost always Bed Bath & Beyond is going to also have deals. I think I just bought a 3 cube, a 6 cube, and a 9 cube, and they were all 20% off. And constantly I'm getting things in the mail. It's really easy to find coupons to get 20, 30, maybe even more % off at Bed Bath & Beyond. So you can get these cubes for much cheaper, and they display a lot of stuff. You can put statues inside of them, you can put stuff on top of them. I've seen people put risers on top of them. I've seen them do a lot of stuff with simple, relaxed living Bed Bath & Beyond cubes. So definitely look at those, consider those. I'm ready to get mine set up actually. It's just blank now, but I'm ready to start putting some more collectibles inside of my empty one that I just purchased. Another really simple option is a shelf lamp. And I recently bought one of these for my room just because I needed some extra lighting in my room. I think I found this one at Walmart for about $35, $30 to $35. It's a really simple option, and you can do some fun little stuff with the way that you display on these. I am pretty happy with the way mine turned out. You can definitely do some different stuff though to mix it up and see what else you can get out of it. I also want to encourage you to always look in clearance bins at places like Walmart and Target, because you can find all sorts of shelves that you can screw right into the wall and you can get on with it. There's all sorts of great stuff. I found these 2 hanging shelves, I think for $6 total for both. It was like a 2-pack in a Walmart clearance aisle, and I have loved being able to display some of my pops on these shelves. Again, they were super easy to install and put on my wall. The next thing I really want to go on about is risers. So let's say you went to Ikea, you bought yourself a couple Liva bookshelves, but now all your pops, you want to bring them out of box, but they're just all on a shelf. It's a mess. Everything's a mess, right? So you want to have your pops in staggered rows. A lot of people opt for just using pop boxes to create your own risers. That's a really simple option. I used to do that with a lot of my displays. I've kind of moved away from it now. I like to put my boxes in the closet. Yes, my closet is filled with Funko Pop boxes. I apologize. A lot of people I've seen people do this where they just use the boxes as risers. But a couple simple options and kind of cheap options that I've been using is the first is the Expand-A-Shelf. I bought these at a place called the Container Store. And these were made for spices, but they expand and can contract to whatever size you need. They fit pretty perfectly on the Liva, and you can fit a pretty good amount of pops. Here's a couple of my shelves that I have out of box on these Expand-A shelves. Again, they were designed for spices, so each little step up is not a great height above the last one. So you do I like to have my pops a little more staggered on these shelves, just so that way you can kind of see all their heads. But you could do them right behind each other, and you could probably get away with it. But I do like to kind of stagger them, kind of put them in each other's windows. But like this, you can fit about 24 to 28 pops on a single shelf of an Ikea Liva if you do it like this with the staggers look. So I think it looks really good, and I even put some kind of printed paper. Literally, I printed this on my personal printer, and I just taped it to the back of the case. I thought it looked good, so that's a pretty simple way as well. But then also recently I've been trying to build my own risers. I don't know if I would strongly encourage people to do this. It's a little bit more difficult than I expected, so if you don't have crafting abilities, you might end up like me and making some that are a little jagged or a little messy looking. But I think they still ended up pretty good. Here's a shot of a couple that I built myself. These are just made with really simple, like $1 to $3 foam boards from like Walmart, and I just cut them to the size that I needed them and then put them right in there. That's literally all it is. I cut and super glued, and that's all it was. And I do think that they actually turned out better than I expected or had originally planned. But I don't know if that's gonna work for everyone's riser needs. I think the most common and most popular riser is actually the acrylic risers that you can usually get off Amazon for a pretty good cost. These are usually somewhere between 9 and 12 inches long, and then usually somewhere between 6 and 9 inches tall, and then they usually go a couple inches back. I want to say 4 to 8 inches, something like that, depending on which risers you get. And they usually come in 2 to 3 packs that you can get on Amazon. And the great thing about this is you can get a 3-pack, and I think they only run about $25 to $35 for the smaller size, maybe like $40 to $45 for the bigger size. So they are a little bit pricier because these are just risers, but man, do they have a great look to them. I'll put a couple pictures up of some because I actually don't own any of these, but I do want to encourage you to look into acrylic risers. I think they're a great option as well. Wow, so I was sitting down to edit this video and I completely realized I had missed one of the most popular and most used shelves in all of Funko Pops that I actually have right here on the wall, and that is the Ikea Moss Landis shelf. So I'm going to put it up on the screen. These usually run about $12 to $15, I believe, and you can fit about 10 pops across. If you have the lip facing up, the pops will actually fit in the lip, and even in a soft protector, you can actually fit them in the lip. You can't fit them in a hard protector, but you can fit them in a soft protector. Usually stacked 2 or 3 high, in my opinion, on each of those shelves. So you can actually fit 20 to 30 pops, give or take, depending on the way you put those shelves. Now, if you look at mine back here, I actually have mine upside down, so I don't have the lip facing out. And that's mainly because I wanted to put slightly longer. You can see here the deluxe Funko Pops and the vinyl figures. Those are the ones I decided to put on my Moss Landis shelves, and those are too big for the lip, so I had to turn them upside down. And they hang fine that way as well. They're really not made to be hung that way, but you can still do it that way. Just 3 holes in the wall, a really simple shelf. But I did want to go ahead and make sure I included that in this video, so you guys also saw that shelf as well. Well, alright everyone, that's how I display my Funko Pops. I do have a couple other random miscellaneous ways that I put some stuff together, but for the most part, I'm really enjoying putting together these out-of-box display shelves. And I think that it really has ignited some of my passion for why I collected Pops in the first place. Just having them in boxes stacked 3 deep where I can't even see half my Pops, it really started to bother me once I hit around 1,000 Pops. And when you hit 1,000 Pops, that's a lot of dang Pops. So I really am happy that I've been kind of reevaluating that, trying to get more of them visible and on display in my actual space, and reminding myself that when I buy a new Funko Pop, it's less about getting another Pop and more about how is this going to improve the display that I have in my space. Always think about that when you go to create or when you go to buy a new Pop or go to buy a new figure. You need to be thinking about how's this going to improve your space and how's this going to make you more happy or maybe feel better about your space right now. Well, I hope you learned a couple things from this video. I really do. I have a lot of tips and tricks for different displays, and yes, I am going mostly out of box. Don't sue me. I know a lot of people out there are probably like, those are collectibles. I don't think of this as an investment for me. I've always thought of this as a hobby, and it's something that I'm doing for fun and something for myself. And if in the end I have to sell them, I do keep the boxes. It's not like I'm throwing them away. I do keep the boxes, and they should keep a lot of their same value, so I'm not super worried about it. So I might as well get these things out, get them on display, and help it to improve the aesthetic of the space that I want it to improve. So definitely consider that when you're thinking about how you want to display your Funko Pops. But now I really want to hear from you guys in the comments. Tell me a little bit about how you display your Pops. What is your favorite style? What do you like the best? Whose aesthetic and what aesthetics do you try to aspire when you're trying to display your Pops? What's the most fun thing about displaying Pops for you? Tell me all about that in the comments below. I would love to hear all the different ways that people are doing their displays. I know that a lot of videos have been out there about different displays and display shelves, but I do hope you learned something new from this one. If you liked any of this, definitely give me a follow over on Instagram. I post a lot of my awesome display shelves on Instagram when I put them together, and I also just post any Pops that I pick up or any other toys and collectibles that I get. I love posting over my Instagram, so definitely go shoot me a follow. On top of that, follow all my friends over in the Funko Collector Society. It's a great group of people that I am lucky enough to be a part of that are constantly putting out content in relation to Funko. You can find their list on their website or over there on their Instagram, and definitely check all their YouTube, Instagram, all their pages out. You can learn a lot about Funko by following those pages. But honestly, if you like what I'm doing, if you are having fun with me and you're learning stuff from me, then that is great, and I want to keep you here. And I am so grateful and thankful for anyone who has tuned in, anyone who has watched some of my videos. It has been a joy just being a part of the YouTube creator community, just being able to make some YouTube content and interact with other people who love Funko products. So, you know the drill. You can like, comment, subscribe, honestly, do whatever you like. I'm just trying to share my passion for collecting with the world. So this is Jerry Pops, signing off.